So welcome to all of you who have joined this masterclass in cybersecurity brought to you by AntWak Academy. Just a brief about AntWak is an education platform driven by real professionals sharing real insights. We got more than 3,000 global professionals from 30 plus countries who've shared their knowledge on over more than 15 domains. And you can head to antwak.com to check it out. On top of it, we got 30,000 micro videos, which is available for you for free that you can learn from. So do not forget to sign up on antwak.com. In recent past, we've launched a premium program for graduates and early professionals who want to successfully transition into cybersecurity as a career. So we'll give you the details shortly. Without any further delay, today's masterclass is going to majorly cover about two main topics. One is about introduction to cybersecurity, and we're going to learn more about GRC, or governance, risk, and compliance, which will be taken by Dr. Ramkumar. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Kaushik.
To introduce, this is the agenda for today. So we're going to talk about emerging technologies in cybersecurity. We're going to discuss certain domains within cybersecurity. An interesting part is why you should take cybersecurity as a career. Then the GRC, which is an overview about it. And then we're going to learn about pathways. And finally, we'll jump into the question and answer session. So as Joy initially pointed out, I'd request all the participants to put themselves on mute. And if at all you have any queries, please leave them on the chat window, which will be answered further. So without any further delay, I'm just going to give a brief introduction about our expert today. Dr. Ramkumar has more than 20 plus years experience across various fields, including IT, ITES, BFSI, media and entertainment, healthcare, and a major automotive company. He's worked for various brands like United Online, Technicolor, Society General, Philips. So all these brands and experience is something that you could say is of immense experience and value. And on top of it, he has his PhD in information security. And also he has a bag full of certifications. Some of them include CISM, CRISC. And his major certification trainings have been around the GDPR, the GRC bit of it, CISM. For people who don't know CISM, it's Certified Information Security Manager. He's done risk assessments, and you can see the accolades and the honors that he's been recognized as one of the top 50 global security professionals. And on top of that, also the Big 50 CISO Award a participant as well. Without any further delay, I'd request Dr. Ramkumar to start off our session. Thank you so much, sir. And we can't wait to hear about you. Cheers.
Thank you, Kaushik. Very good evening to all of you. Kaushik, if you can go to the next slide, it would be helpful. Yeah, so cybersecurity, as we know, it's very ubiquitous. It's present across all technologies. You look at this slide, whatever be the aspects of our life, including economy, politics, technology, robo, and any new emerging technology, cybersecurity is omnipresent. Today, even countries take up cybersecurity as a weapon for offensive operations. It's no longer just the air, land, and sea that is the frontier for war. Even cyberspace, where they want cyber warfare. Now, come to think of it, it's very scary, scenario. Cybersecurity for all commercial organizations, even for companies that are involved in high-tech domain, is very critical. It's all about protecting your precious data, protecting your information assets, your perimeter, your infrastructure. And in a borderless world, it's all the more critical when we go on cloud. What are the strategies we are going to have towards protecting our cyber assets? What we overall call as the digital assets is very, very valuable. As we say, data is the new oil today, and this is going to be a huge domain in the coming years. It has evolved from the days of computer security to data security, It was earlier called information security. Now it has evolved into cybersecurity. Tomorrow we don't know, maybe called digital security. And it wouldn't be out of place when I say cybersecurity is getting all the more critical in a threat scale where you have cyber crimes is actually a huge industry in itself. It's in earning a revenue of $1.5 trillion, and it has overtaken drug trade as one of the has overtaken drug trade as the to emerge as the topmost money spinners for criminals. The local criminals just went online and they are making money like anything. Next slide, please. So this again gives you a quick overview of how data is critical for any organization, whether they are in their own business plans, to their intellectual property, to customer information, to employee information, and financial information, whatever be it, it's all very critical. And data is being protected by the building blocks like your people, process, and technologies around security, having the right kind of skill sets, right kind of processes, right technology tools to protect them. Then your other assets, which fall into your corporate assets, including your branding, your IP, or digital assets, all the digital assets. Then you'll have to have a strong control framework to protect your assets. So you have a lot of frameworks available today in the market. You'll have to analyze and see what fits into your organization goals and the industry in which you are operating. Based on these factors, you can pick and choose. And finally, you have to have processes and a strong security organization. Security would involve other stakeholders, in the organizations, like your cyber resilience, made up of business continuity and disaster recovery, and also data privacy. Today, data privacy is growing into a major concern. And as we all know, in many organizations, in many countries rather, a lot of privacy laws are being promulgated, and India is also is going to implement a law. Currently, it's in a bill form. It's called the Indian Personal Data Protection Bill. Once that bill is actually passed in the parliament, it becomes a law. So a lot of ramifications for the cybersecurity domain, and the base of privacy is actually cybersecurity. And overall, you you run the security program or integrated security program, factoring in not just the cybersecurity aspect, including the cyber resilience and data privacy, through a strong governance, risk, and compliance program. And other aspects is that it is a borderless world. The perimeters are blurred. It's no longer that this is my network, that is not ours. We have a third-party suppliers and vendors who are part of our ecosystem, and that also have to be taken into consideration when you prepare a strategy and run your security program. Because in the entire ecosystem, if one partner is compromised, it's going to impact the organization as well. We have seen enough and more in many of the real-world cybersecurity breaches how third parties have been the source of compromise and how it impacted the organization. Yeah, next slide, please. So we have a lot of emerging technologies. Everyone is gung ho about different emerging technologies like artificial intelligence to blockchain to Internet of Things to RPA. We had talked about smart cities and stuff, right? And all of them, the basic thing is you need to have strong cybersecurity. Without a secure development of the technology, it's very, very shaky. For instance, since I can give since I worked in the healthcare domain, I can give you a relevant example. Like we all use Fitbit kind of watches, which monitors a lot of health parameters and gives data. What if that software, that is that application that is running that Fitbit is not secure, right? If it is not secure, anybody can hack. Malicious cyber criminals can actually get into and collect the data and then use it for nefarious purposes. So healthcare is not just about healthcare data is not just protecting patient privacy or users' personal information. It actually can be life-threatening. What if a pacemaker is actually hacked? What if a MRI scanner is actually hacked? So much of effort goes into developing these systems, and if they are not secure, then it's the end of story. So in healthcare domain, life safety is all the more prominent, not just a question of losing data or identity theft. Yeah, next slide, please. So this IBAC is a very popular acronym today. Few years back, it was all about SMAC, social media analytics and cloud. And today it's about IBAC, the Internet of Things, your blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. So this IBAC has been around the last 2 years, gaining a lot of prominence. And the next slide, it talks about um, you know how IoT feels, because IoT has a lot of sensors, and blockchain remembers AI things because a lot of things are programmed to automate certain things and take independent decisions in a given set of parameters. That's why AI thinks, and how cybersecurity as a function or as a domain it protects. So emerging technologies are maturing, and as we mature, importance of security becomes critical. And every technology today you can think of cannot operate without cybersecurity. You need the right technology, right inputs, right skilled personnel to fortify these technologies and ensure they are deployed in a secure way, so that end users' data is protected, end users' privacy is protected. Yeah, next. So this is just an infographic that gives you a lot of statistics. So what's more important is, see, the people, 90% of consumers lack confidence in security of IoT devices, because IoT devices predominantly focus only on the functionality, how they need ought to function, what's the value the end user gets, the customer gets. They are not care. They don't care about security today. That's a sorry state of affairs. Maybe large organizations have strong security focus, but a lot of small players are around, small and medium-sized companies. They bring out a lot of IoT based devices and applications, and that's going to be a big worry, because we really don't know how far they invest in security and what their focus is on security. That just gives a flavor. If you look at for each of the other technologies, it will be almost similar story. Yeah. Next. This is just a slide that gives you importance of cybersecurity for data science, right? So throughout your data science ecosystem, whatever stage you are, it's all about handling sensitive data in bulk and doing analytics using various tools. And when you do all this kind of the entire data workflow chain, what is more important is how it is secure, because for all the crunching we do and then bring out a lot of insights through going through the analytics tools, if the data is not secure, the insights can be easily taken up by rivals, and it can be breached and the confidentiality will be lost. Yeah, next slide, please. So this slide is very interesting. I will take a few more minutes to completely explain. Cybersecurity is a very vast domain. The entire domain exists only for de-risking the organization, de-risking the business. So on the right side, you can see risk assessment, right? It's all about risk management, how you manage the risk of an organization. So risk assessment is a basic step. You have multiple ways of doing risk assessments. You can do technical assessments. Okay, so for folks who are very much inclined into assessing the strength of the applications, or how robust is your network, your perimeter network, or your website, you can do a penetration testing, you can do a vulnerability scanning, and you can look at the results and take remedial measures. And also you can folks who are in ethical hacking, who love to build a career in ethical hacking, your pen testing would be a great path for them to pursue. And as I said earlier, third-party vendors and suppliers, for them also you'll have to have a strong third-party risk management program, where you go and assess their security program, salient features, and if there are any anomalies or any weaknesses, you highlight and ensure they are also as secure as you. So that is one major domain. So you can take a look at that. Then coming and the right below, you find the green one, green chart. That's your into your governance area. So this is at the leadership level, right? So when you run a security program, how the management is going to, senior management is going to run a security program. So it has a lot of aspects like your company's policies, procedures, standards, baselines, and guidelines. All these things have to be documented. They are all living documents. We'll have to keep them reviewing at least once in a year and publish them and also evangelize them. This time you'll have to make people understand the salient features of them. There's no point saying I have a nice policy in the website, in the intranet, but nobody reads it. You have to gamify through security awareness programs so that people understand the do's and don'ts, the highlights of the policies. Then you have the compliance part, legal and regulations. Depending on the industry they are in, they'll have to comply with industry regulations or government regulations around cybersecurity. So in India, for instance, if you're a banking organization, you'll be coming under the RBI's mandate on cybersecurity. If you're an NBFC, again, there are certain set of standards you'll have to follow. Of course, if you're processing credit card information or debit card information, then you'll have to will come under the PCI DSS largely. Okay, I'm not getting into the specifics, there are technicalities, but suffice to say that industry to industry you'll have standards. Then the one in purple, that is threat intelligence. That's again a technical domain. You have both tech int and human. Okay, technical intelligence and also human intelligence. You have both external sources and internal sources. You have a huge amount of tools that can collect intelligence for you. A lot of vendors who specialize and provide you such insights. Your SOC also helps you to be part of your security operations center. Threat intelligence is the domain. So this is one key area many companies are investing in, getting into insights from what's happening around on their technical side. Then you have the user education. This is again part of your governance activities. So people who are good at training, they good at interpreting their security policies and they highlighted, they can very well take up this. Then what you see in the left side is the vulnerability management. So you have to have part of your security operations. You'll have to have your SOC, Software Security Operations Center, that will have a SIEM tool and other related tools. Part of it would be your vulnerability assessment and penetration testing and managing them. Then you have in the top, you have career development. This is again very personal. You can look at it two ways. One at a personal level, because as an individual who's an aspiring cybersecurity professional, the moment you get into the domain, you'll have to keep continuing learning. It's not that you got a certification, end of story, because the domain is vast and keeps evolving with new technologies, new tactics, and new threats. You'll have to keep yourself abreast. So there are multiple ways to keep yourself updated, and not just doing some certifications, even passive learning, attending conferences, webinars, reading a lot of papers, right? So all of that will help you keeping yourself up to date. And what you see above is the frameworks. Again, this is aligned with the governance area. So there are a lot of frameworks in the industry like COBIT, like NIST or ISO standards. So all of this, if you pick up as you go along higher in your career and map it to the controls, that will help you in running a very structured program aligned with global frameworks and standards, right? Then you have security architecture. This is again a core technical area. It's all about building a robust security architecture based on principles like your zero trust or defense in depth. Okay, so this is again a core area. You can specialize. It has aspects like identity and access management, That's again a very important subdomain within cybersecurity. People specialize and make a career out of it. Then you have digital forensics. That's again another area where you do the postmortem analysis on cyber attacks or cyber events, security events, or security incidents, and then come back with a report and actually trace, go to the root cause and find out and report it. And finally, physical security is as much part of cyber security, even though it's a separate domain. In very matured organizations, the physical security function reports into the CISO, what we call as the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, because when you say we have a huge security program running on a $1 million budget and has the latest technology tools and blah blah blah, but if somebody is able to actually walk out with a laptop and challenge and you lose a laptop, then that's very funny, right? And that's the reason physical security is actually integrated in large organizations and matured organizations along with cybersecurity. So I think I gave a complete view. And one other domain is the latest domains are your cloud security, because everyone today cloud is the most popular way to run your business, and all our data is residing in the cloud, and that is one area. The other one is the AppSec, application security, where the focus is more on developing secure applications, testing them, and deploying very secure applications. It starts with secure coding, understanding the security requirements along with the functional requirements, because we as developers, we really focused only on the functionality. What is the utility? What's the application supposed to do? And the logic that goes with that, not on the security front. So this is where, if you are following agile, agile method of, development, you'll have to incorporate the security requirements. It starts with your security requirements, and then threat modeling. Okay, there are very good threat models that are available that you can put to use. Then secure coding, you have to train your developers to ensure there are no holes, any loopholes when they develop, because the code can be exploited. So there's a method to do it. Application security experts actually give training on these, secure code techniques, so that the application is very tightly, coded, and there can be no way where a hacker can actually easily hack into. And then finally, once it is coded, it will be tested through tools. And once the testing is done, if there are no anomalies, then it will be given the green light for deployment, secure deployment. Okay, I think I covered everything in this slide. Can move ahead. Next slide, please. So there are few reasons why you should consider cybersecurity as a career, right? So first thing is everything is digital today. So everything digital means there is a security side to it. We need folks for that. And it's a very intellectual and exciting field, okay? Trust me when I say this, I come with about 20 years experience. Every day is a challenge, okay? And if you're more so in a hands-on technology role within cybersecurity, you'll love the vibrancy and how dynamic this domain is. The learning curve is steep, and every day you will have to invest in yourself in learning. And you have more number of job opportunities across the world. You just Google yourself cybersecurity opportunities. Every news report talks about so many million jobs that are not available. Okay, people are not able to fill in. Today, most organizations, we have this problem where if you lose an employee, we are not able to find the people with the right skill set. Of course, as a fresher, it will take a bit of a strategy to get the breakthrough and get a toehold in the industry. But once you gain a bit of experience, the world is wide, right? Then, of course, your bad guys, your hackers don't take a break just because you're on holiday, right? So hacking always happens, data breaches, security incidents, all of this happen all the time. And today, the cost of data breach is going up. It's not just, you have a lot of costs you need to spend. Companies need to spend a lot of money in fixing things, right? Litigation costs and, compensation costs, new controls, new technologies, PR, okay, media management, all of this are huge problems today. So hackers don't take a break, so we'll have to work twice as hard, right? And there are privacy regulations. Today, the regulations regime is very, very tight across the world. Name any major economy, everyone has come up with strong laws around data security and privacy. So you need more professionals to work on them and be or make the organization stay compliant. Yeah. Next slide, please. So, of course, if you are motivated by money, you get premium pay. Simple as that, because it's no longer looked at as a support function. Earlier, 10, 15 years back, cybersecurity, or what was called earlier information security, was treated as a support function. But today, it's come out on its own. It is its own independent career path, and many folks from other domains like IT and applications and even chartered accountants, people with finance audit background, people with law background, they all jump into cybersecurity because that's where more money is. And practically, you can define your growth where you want to be. I've seen people in less than 8 years, they've become leadership, they've taken up leadership roles. It all depends on your passion, your ambition, the amount of effort you are willing to put in, and shape up your career yourself. And the domains, as you saw on the earlier slide, it's a lot of variety. You can pick and choose. It's not just around technology, you have on the other aspects as well. So you can always pick and choose. And this is a real job in the sense you can implement a program, you can assess the program. Suppose you're an auditor, you will assess it, you can deliver, you can advise, okay, you can oversee security projects. And finally, this job has real impact. You protect infra, you help protect data, privacy, money, even lives. As I said, even in healthcare industry or in the connected car domain, you actually protect lives. What if a connected car is actually hacked? Today, cars are no longer the simple, four wheels and a steering wheel mechanical device, right? It comes with so much of technology loaded into it, like what we call as the connected car technology, your ECU, your OBD ports, telematics, right? Your communications, your GPS. So it's a data center on wheels, and this can actually be hacked. Have been already hacked. You can go and check in Google how cars have been hacked from very big vendors, very big OEMs. So it's not just about protecting your money or identity. It actually protects lives. Okay. I think that's a strong motivator for you to pick up a career in cybersecurity. The next slide, please. Okay, this slide talks about the growing, top growing cybersecurity skills in the next 4 5 years, right? The next 5 years. What you can see in the top is the application development security. This is again a burning, skill set that people are looking. As I said, the security in the software development lifecycle, secure SDLC. You need a lot of people in that. Then your cloud security, then your risk management, threat intel, and so on and so forth. Okay, yeah. I think I reached the first part of this presentation. Over to you, Kaushik.
Thanks, Dr. Ram. I think the first part was extremely insightful on how people should early professionals and graduates should look at cybersecurity as a domain and also as a very interesting career choice. It's very interesting when you talked about the multiple areas, whether it's on risk assessment or ethical hacking, uh, security architecture. I think there's a lot of options out there, and also the skills that you talked about on in the last slide. In terms of what are the top skills required. I think it's very interesting to understand and therefore prepare for people out in the meeting today.
Yeah,
So I think with that, what I want to just take a 2 minute pause and introduce the AntWak experiential program for cybersecurity, which is launching uh, the coming month. April 17th is when actually the program starts for us. I will just take a minute to walk you guys through the cybersecurity program in detail, and uh, it's a 16-week program where we will cover core topics in lines with what Dr. Ram just highlighted, or what are the top skills, right? Whether it is web app security or cloud security, incident management, governance, and so on. We will take you through the curriculum briefly. Uh, Along with that, we will also focus quite a bit on the equally important aspect of soft skills. How do you work in a team? How do you present better? How do you communicate and collaborate? And at the end, we'll also do a lot of preparatory work for you guys to crack that dream interview for the cybersecurity career, whether it is your uh, CV review, mentoring sessions, any Q&A you need to have with us so that we can help you prepare better for these upcoming interviews. Uh, Within the 16-week course, we have structured in such a way that it's 3 classes, live classes per week, typically running on Saturdays and Sundays. Uh, and then during the weekdays, you will have pre-reads and also a project that you will need to work on, right? The very interesting part about this experiential program, guys, is that we have broken up the entire domain into the top competencies that you guys need, and each of these competencies are going to be taught or instructed by experts such as Dr. Ram himself, uh, who come with a lot of experience, having worked in this industry for 10 plus of years, having done and executed on these dimensions, day in and day out. So what you will learn is not just theory and frameworks, but actually the practical insights that you need, so that when you join your job on day one, you can actually start getting to work immediately, right? So there will be at least 40 plus live classes. These are not just self-paced content uh, that you need to sit on your own and consume. There will be actual live sessions that you will be working in teams, and the experts will be interacting with you on a weekend basis. And also each competency has a project associated with it. Kaushik will take you guys through a little bit of few examples detailing on what kind of projects and tools that you will be able to get your hands on, giving you that practical experience, right? The program fee for this is 49,999. We have signed up with a lot of NBFC and financial partners to bring you a zero cost EMI plans starting at around 4,400 rupees per month. Uh, we will put the link on the chat window as well. For people who are interested, please sign up today on this link, and one of our counselors will definitely reach out to you and give you a lot more details on what the curriculum entails and what the outcome and learning outcome that you'll get out of this program. So I'll just hand it off to Kaushik, who can just take a minute or two to walk us through some of the islands and what kind of outcomes you will get out of it.
Thanks, Sriram. So guys, this bootcamp is gonna briefly cover not one, not two, but we're gonna do about 10 islands, or what we call as competency islands. And what I believe is that you should not just know a limited amount of knowledge or have an end-to-end knowledge just about one thing, but have an overall perspective or get a 360-degree understanding about every perspective or every domain of how cybersecurity works. Now, with the mind map that Dr. Ram had explained earlier, this is one of the pictorial presentations, or the tabular presentations rather, that we're going to cover total 10 domains, of which the first 5 is something that you could see, which is introduction to cybersecurity, network security, cyber attacks, web application security, and incident management. And the highlight is going to be we're just not going to show you recorded videos, or we rather going to have our live professionals going to be guiding you towards each and every tool, starting from the most basic installation of a virtual box to learning those very basic commands of determining IP addresses, to the most complex of being about packet analysis using Wireshark, Nmap, Etacap, and also the highlighters. We just don't want to keep these tools and projects as a project, but rather also give you an exposure to report all those findings. Because at the end of the day, as a cybersecurity professional, you also need to have a report presentation skills. And cyber attacks is going to be something which we're going to give you exposure to report and to present things or present technical things to people or your stakeholders who are really not going to be technically inclined, but in a way by which they'll be able to assume or understand information much more better. Sriram, next slide, please. So on top of these 5 islands, the interesting ones, all of them are interesting, but these ones are going to be much more captivating because they're going to require you to go hands-on. Like, for example, digital forensics. GRC is going to be taken by Dr. Ramkumar, and then identity and access management will have a lot of case studies about CyberArk, and the most important two being cloud security and cyber threat intelligence, just because it is the cloud world today. Anything and everything around us is depending on the cloud, and having that sort of essence to understand how various infrastructures work is always going to be beneficial and potential. And the final island is going to be about threat intelligence, wherein you're going to learn a lot about the types of threats, like the internal threats, the external threats, the indicators of compromises, and things like that, in addition to open CTI and CrowdThreat. So it's like a compact, packed information which has been given to you in a comprehensive way, by which I can kind of assure you that this will take you to a level wherein you'll be able to kind of sense that confidence in yourself and present yourself much more better to progress in your career. Right. So to continue the topic, I'd request Dr. Ramkumar to continue with our next agenda, which is going to be about GRC. Dr. Ramji.
Thanks, Kaushik. I think we have put the link on the chat window for who is interested in the program. Please do sign up through the chat. And like I said, one of our counselors will guide you through the rest. Back to you, Dr. Ram.
Thank you, Sriram. Thank you, Kaushik. Yeah, so governance, risk, and compliance. So governance is a very, very important aspect of for running your cybersecurity program. As you can see here, it's said that governance is actually a non-negotiable requirement for being in business, right? So next slide. So this is just an explanation what governance encompasses. The governance, risk and compliance, what we call shortly in a shortened form GRC, refers to the strategy for managing an organizational overall governance, overall risk management and compliance with regulations. So this is all about aligning your IT with business objectives, because at the end of the day, we work for the business, whichever organization, and their organizational objectives are supreme. We'll have to align with ourselves with the objectives. And a well-planned GRC strategy helps, gives a lot of benefits. So for instance, to help in decision making, making more optimal IT investments, eliminate silos because we will better work together, right? A lot of transparency in terms of data sharing. We'll have, tracking our KPIs and KRIs, key risk, indicators and key performance indicators, and we can help through those metrics. We can improve our security posture and reducing fragmentation. So this is about breaking all the silos. So what you can see here in this diagram, it's about all the management aspects. Now you have the necessary funding, you got the people, you got the process, you got the technology, but how are you going to run it and how are you going to control it and have an oversight into the operations? That aspect is taken care by the governance, and it's other areas like risk and compliance. The next slide. So again, this is a different way to portray the same. So the core, you have your data, information content, and it is amply, managed by right set of people, processes, and technology. And what you see here is the identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. These are all the principles of the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. So you have a framework to run your security program. And across GRC, you have the benefits in terms of your assurance, accountability that gives when you have a strong governance program, your performance assurance and performance accountability. Your risk, actually, when you have a strong enterprise risk management through evaluation and mitigation of risk and having a strong risk appetite, your business continuity is assured, right? Your cyber resilience is enhanced, your credibility as a company is enhanced. And when you come to compliance and maturity, you are conforming to the legal requirements and the regulatory requirements. Customer confidence is high, and of course, your service quality improves. Now, all of this is all about, having the basic principles of your information security, starting with your CIA triad, what we call confidentiality, integrity, and availability as a CIA, then your authentication, authorization, and auditability. The next slide, please. Some of these slides are a bit repetitive. It's just a jugglery of words, so some of them I may skip in the interest of time. So this, again, it very succinctly, it talks about the processes and goals an organization needs to have, that is associated with governance aspects. The risk management is about identifying and managing the risks, how you manage the identified risk with mitigation or transfer, right? And finally, complying. You have to demonstrate that you are actually staying compliant with the rules, regulations, laws, and statutes. Next slide. So these are the different aspects within the elements, right? Elements within GRC. The governance aspect is related to the strategy, overall strategy the organization has for security, and that has to align with the goals and objectives. You should have strong security policies and procedures, robust documentation, so that everyone can follow, everyone talks in a single language, they have a reference point, and the management spells out their statement of intent over different areas through policies, and the folks who actually implement will have it documented the form of procedures which talks about step-by-step processes they need to follow. The structure and processes related to governance is all coming under the governance area. The right side, you can see the risk management. It's all about if you have to break into different chunks, go a little more granular, then you will start with identifying the risk. You analyze the risk and you build a profile, and you can monitor the risk, and finally it's all about achieving your objectives of managing your risk optimally. You cannot eliminate risk, you can only minimize risk. And finally, the compliance part, it's about whether you are complying, your employees are complying with your own internal security policies and procedures, and also with the external requirements like the legal and the industry regulations, what sort of controls you are having, what sort of activities that goes towards compliance area is done. So all of this form the elements of the GRC program. The next. So again, this is a little more deep dive. I think I can skip in the interest of time. It's easy to follow. And GRC framework, you need to have a proper framework to manage everything. So you'll have to work with multiple stakeholders. What you see here is the process framework, the regulatory framework, and the risk framework. And all of them are actually having a strong standard controls that you'll be having. So depending on the posture you want to achieve for your cybersecurity, your decisions for the frameworks will come. Or for regulatory frameworks, of course, the industry you operate will come in. Even airline industry has got its own security framework. Automotive industry has got, healthcare has got, banking and financial sector they have got, media entertainment they have their own security standards, industry standards. So all of them will dictate your choice of the frameworks that you need to follow. So when you follow a framework, it will be easy for you to run your security GRC program. For example, if a company is already ISO 9001 certified, that is into QMS, quality management system, and now there's a requirement for achieving ISO 27001. If you have a unified standard, then a lot of efforts can be conserved. You don't have to duplicate the processes. You don't have to duplicate the documentation. You can have a unified process. So that's where unification from a governance perspective will help in achieving and doing things in an optimal way. And the next slide. Okay, this is a very nice colorful slide. So in the governance aspect, you can see all your external legal requirements, then followed by your industry standards and your policies, and your contracts and commits, what you are committed by way of agreement with the customers. Then your procedures which you follow as per your standards that you follow. Then the controls, what kind of technical or administrative or physical controls. In the middle, you have the risk aspect. So you have your you split your organization into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, just a classification at the apex level, at the business unit level, and at the asset level. And in the middle, you have a circular chain that talks about the controls you'll be having. You categorize the system, you select controls, you implement them, you assess the controls, you authorize system, and finally do continuous monitoring. The blue circle is about your compliance, continuous compliance, right? It starts with securing your systems, and you have a a very responsible workforce in the sense they act as a human firewall. They are very much aware. There is awareness around cybersecurity policies, procedures, the do's and don'ts, the best practices, and they don't fall prey into social engineering or any kind of phishing attacks. And for every, the security is actually built into the DNA of the company. Okay. Then comes your resilience, cyber resilience you build so that in case there is a disruption or a sort of a crisis event, you know how to recover quickly, and your decision making is actually based on the risks that you have, and then it overall contributes to continuous improvement. On the compliance side, you need to monitor and your threatscape, what is the emerging threats and whether it is going to impact you. Threat intelligence will help you. You have to implement controls. For every control you implement, it has a cost and time effort associated with that. So that's something you need to be cognizant of. Then you also monitor internal insider behavior. Today, insider threats is again a major threat vector. Employees, contractors actually indulging in wanton leaking of information, data exfiltration and stuff like that. So you need to keep an eye on that as well. Then you do the self-assessment. Then you do the external audits. You have a lot of regulatory audits. You have statutory audits. You have standards audit or contracts audit, contractual audits. The customers will come for an audit to check your cybersecurity controls, your posture, right? And reporting. You'll have to report to your own management, customers, to regulatory bodies. So this gives a complete view of the GRC domain. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah, Kaushik. Okay, very quickly, I'm not getting into too much details. There's one way to do a GRC program is the organizing your security organization and the entire security program on 3 lines of defense. So the FX, you have the board or the audit committee, then your executive committee made up of your senior management folks. Then you organize them into first line, second line, and third line of defense. The first line is your line management, okay, and they own the risk. And second line is your security function or ERM function, and the third line is the internal audit and your which gives sort of assurance. Then you have the external assurance parties, okay, or regulators or external auditors. The next slide. Next slide is a little bit deep dive. So the first line we spoke about the business units. It includes your CISO as well. Then the second line comprises of the group risk management, which is an umbrella term. Large organizations have a group risk management. Otherwise, it's just information security or cybersecurity. The third one is your internal audit. So it's kind of it has a safety net. So if business units are not implementing the controls and something is wrong, that can be monitored and taken action by the group risk management. If there also there are lapses, then the internal audit and the external audit will actually catch it. So that's how the 3 lines of defense is organized. The next slide. Okay, this is associated with your application security. I think I already spoke about it in agile, development or the traditional waterfall development, how the application development happens and where are all the security touch points. I think it's a little more deep dive into this. Yeah, but it's a very, very hot skill set that people are looking today, application security. Yeah, and this slide is a roadmap was published last year. Not much has changed. What's important, you look at the third row, the blue one, that talks about the information security career path, career roadmap. So what's very important is the number of roles you have, and you come towards the rightmost, you have CISO. Very few other domains have senior positions available. Either they get into IT as CIO or they'll have to come into security as a CISO for people who are ambitious and they want to take up leadership positions. Only these are the 2 avenues, as you can see in this slide. So you can take a deep dive. I think I'm sure AntWak would be sharing this recorded session for everyone to take a deeper look as a reference point. You can take a look and understand how this domain is structured, and it has a long hierarchy. You can always take advantage of. It is not like other domains. After a few years you stop. It all depends on your ambition and your willingness to keep yourself updated with the latest trends in cybersecurity domains, and that will keep you thriving, and you can reach up to the level of a CISO if you plan it well. Yep. Next slide. Okay, finally, as I said, your ambition, your interest, your goals, your passion, with all these things are, you have to do a SWOT analysis. I'm sure you know SWOT analysis, right? Your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. When you do the SWOT analysis, keeping all these in mind, then you will be very clear what domain you want to, what stream you would want to specialize in. The right side is the technical streams across all these areas. It's always good to start here, start with specialization, but as you grow as a cybersecurity professional, once you get a foothold in the industry, it's always good to move into strategic leadership and management area. Technical area is great to start, but bad to stay, because you'll not get too many opportunities to grow higher in the same domain unless it's a very, very large organization and they have a very clear career path. Even at a very senior level, they have distinguished scientist or distinguished engineer kind of roles, and that really pays well, and it has its own heft and power. Otherwise, beyond a point, you'll have to shift into management roles. Okay, I think I've reached the end of this slide. Anything else, Kaushik? So wishing you all the best. I strongly urge you to sign up for this AntWak experiential program and take advantage. Already Sriram had given enough overview of that. Please take a look and then decide better. Cybersecurity is not expensive. If you think it is expensive, try being without cybersecurity. It's all the more worse. Not just as an individual, even in an organizational setup. Cybersecurity, of course, it needs the required investments in terms of budget, resources, and effort, but the payoffs are huge. Okay, so all the best and thank you. Thanks, AntWak, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ram. We just have a couple of questions on the chat window.
Yeah.
So I think one of the last questions that has come from Viral is that, can we directly get into management part of cybersecurity being a fresher?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. Yeah, it's not that you cannot do it, but you won't have the required grounding. The best thing is you specialize in one technical area. The easy stepping stone would be getting into audits, okay, cybersecurity system audits. From audits, you can move on to the governance side, okay, interpreting laws and managing a security program. So I would suggest you do a CISA, CISA, what we call a CISA certification from ISACA. But for that, you need to have experience. First, get a grounding in any one area like cloud security or network security. Get onto a role, move on to an audit role. Once you pick up stuff, you certify in CISA. Then from then on, you can move on to governance. Yeah.
Wonderful. One question I have from Keshav is that something that AI will impact the cybersecurity job. So what is your opinion on that, sir?
Of course, it's big time. Today, every other vendor, major vendor says that their product is AI enabled. Now, it's a different story. How are you going to evaluate? Are they really talking sense? Are they just talking some crap? Whether the product is really AI enabled. But definitely both for cybersecurity technologies, the tools, and also for AI as a domain, you need cybersecurity. So you have enough and more tools available. You can train yourself in this domain, in this emerging technology domain, artificial intelligence. You can build secure products, right, using AI, because a human capability is very limited. For example, even for the number of events and alerts that comes, it's impossible for a human analyst in the SOC to actually keep track of them. That's where these kind of tools come into play picture and play a big role.
Perfect. One of the early questions we got at the beginning of the session, Doctor, was, this is from Abhijit. I'm currently doing my diploma in computer engineering and I would like to move into cybersecurity field. What courses should I study to get into the field?
Start with network security if that excites you. Yeah, that is into the infrastructure. There are the AntWak course itself is well structured. You see the different areas in which it gives you grounding. So take advantage of that. If you don't like networking, get into cloud. Okay, cloud security, specialize in AWS or Google or Microsoft Azure, any of them. Or if you don't like any of it, then move on to digital forensics. Again, that's a niche area. Not every company hires, but whichever company hires, they know the value of digital forensics. It's a high-paying role as you grow into a career. Or get into application security. Get yourself trained in any of the security products. For that, you need to have strong exposure to programming skills, okay, coding skills. So that is also an option. So these are all the different areas. I think I already covered in the domains section.
Correct.
And this is Joy here, founder of AntWak. So thanks once again, Dr. Ram. Just to add to that, this is, see what Dr. Ram has been saying consistently is that you cannot be a fence sitter in this profession. You need to get started. We all got started at some point in time. And the AntWak cybersecurity program is designed across those 10 or 12 competencies that Kaushik showed in the beginning, is to ensure that as a someone starting your career, you have enough arsenal so that you can, do well in a variety of interviews, and thereon you can see what sticks to you rather than, just making that decision upfront, because there are several variables. What will be your first job? What will you actually like? How will your career shape up? How will the technology be in a 18 months to 24 months time from now? So I would severely urge that at this point in time, do a more full stack course so that you get a flavor of everything to make a right judgment as you grow in your career. You have a 30-40 year long career ahead of you. So it's not a, right today I want to become a CISO kind of an approach, but sample the whole thing, learn the whole thing, then see how your career progresses over a period of time. And that's why the way we have designed this program is a very full stack program.
Thanks a lot,
Yeah,
Joy.
very much, Joy. So you have put it very well. If you look at the islands here, all of them are very different from each other. It gives you a flavor of different domains. See, IAM, cloud security, digital forensics, your CTI, all of them are independent careers in itself. Somehow you feel that undergoing this course, you will get a complete overview of all the areas, and you want to specialize only in IAM, you can do so. Or you want to be a generalist and specialize in GRC and oversee everything, that is also a very much a viable career path. So what I'm saying is you undergo a course like this, then you pick and choose where you want to specialize. Don't have a closed mind and look at only one aspect. That's not going to help you, because all the domains are very much, the boundaries are very blurred. Though you may specialize, it doesn't hurt to know more about the network security and cyber attacks if you're a web application developer, and when you implement security controls and around the web application, you should have a complete overview of all the areas. That kind of knowledge, will give you a better perspective when you actually run a security program, right? Or being part of a security program. Thank you.
Right. So further adding to just for a 10-second level, see, all of us come with more than 15-20 years work ex ourselves. And when we designed this program, we were very clear that what is it that we want our own freshers to know so that we are able to hire them. And that's why when we brought this program together, we got, instead of academicians, first of all, real world professionals like Dr. Ram to teach. Number two, we understood that the importance of live class is way more important than self-learning. Hence, we got close to 100+ hours of live classes. And then third, we have a deep focus on those soft skills. As Dr. Ram was saying again and again, your rise in this career has a lot to do with soft skills, because you ultimately have to present those reports, talk to people, convince them about your findings and so on, right? This is not a job which you just shut down and do in some corner of the office. So look forward to having many of you in this program. I am always available. Just apply to the platform. Someone will reach out to you. And if you want to personally speak to me or any of the other founders, we are available to answer your questions in detail.
Thank you so much, Joy.
Ram sir, may I ask you a question? I'm Viral Pare.
Go ahead, Viral.
Yeah. So actually, I'm pursuing my MBA. So basically, I'm from Mumbai, so I'm pursuing MBA. So in June it will be over. It will be done, and then I'm thinking of switching to cybersecurity. So I would like to tell you that I have done small sort of courses regarding the technical things which you mentioned about. Like I am aware about what is a VAPT, how do you the bug bounty platforms, and I'm very much aware of all such technical things. But being a management student, that's the reason I asked that question. Can we move directly to the management side being a fresher? So if I consider cyber law or the diploma in advanced cyber law, will such things help me out in growing the management side?
Yes, you can go into the management side. Suppose you are looking only at cyber law, but even as interpreting the laws, you need to know technology. That's what I'm insisting, that have some grounding in technology. You don't have to be an expert, but at least have a good understanding of technology. That will help you in your legal career as a cyber lawyer, right? Or even you work in a corporate in the legal team, interpreting cyber law, helping corporates with all the contracts and stuff into privacy. Definitely, grounding in technology area will help you.
Okay, so along with the law, then can I move towards the CISSP and also certifications?
No, for CISSP, you need to have a hardcore hands-on training, hands-on experience. You need minimum 5 to 6 years. Even senior professionals, they struggle to crack the exam. So that's why I'm telling, don't go gung-ho on certifications. Have real-world experience, and only then you attempt. CISSP is a gold standard in security, right? Not everyone attempts. You need a lot of hands-on experience before you attempt.
Okay, so basically it's a technical part of the management exam.
It's a technical, 70% technical.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Dr. Ram, for a wonderful session. I think it was extremely engaging. I think we had a lot of questions. I'm seeing a lot of feedback also saying, they enjoyed the session, and the people are asking for your recorded session to watch again later. So thank you again. Hope we'll get you back on more live sessions soon. In the meanwhile, folks, Dr. Ram will be taking, like he said, one of the two of the islands and competencies on the boot camp, which is launching in the second week of April. Do reach out to us, sign up. We will be able to help you out as much as possible on any queries you have. Thank you again, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you all. See you. All the best.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.